Yo, P, yo, Shaman, what's good, guys? My bag, I wasn't in here when you guys jumped in. Had to run in and fix a drink. And I tried to make a phone call. Somebody hit me some shit. Damn, I still had a cup in here from the other day. But somebody hit me to some shit, man. Which is so logical. I'm mad at myself that I didn't realize it. I didn't think about it. But the last time I went to, last time I rode out to Philly, I must have, so I have the little Easy Pass dongle doohickey that you like put on your windshield. But that shit be ugly, so I don't got mine like attached to my windshield. I just grab it and hold it up there until I pass the toll, and I put that shit back away. And then plus, if you had that shit out all the time, like a motherfucker breaking your car, they'll take that shit. Motherfuckers will steal that shit if they see it, bro. Cause that shit linked to your fucking bank account. But so yeah, last time I went to Philly, I must have missed a toll somewhere, and they sent me a toll fee for like $50-something. And I'm like, I'm not paying that because I got my fucking Easy Pass. Then that was like over a month ago, a couple months ago. And then they sent me another letter like the other day saying, oh, Mr. Prince, this is your second notification. Well, I was talking about that shit at work today, and somebody said, yo, just call the number. Just call the number on the ticket. Give them your Easy Pass number, and they should be able to see that I do have an active Easy Pass that's connected to my account. So you can take the fucking $4 toll or whatever out, but I'm not paying no $50-something for that shit. So I'm not. I don't know. I was just down there. I just thought about it. Like, yo, let me call. But then when you call the automated thing, it tells you like if do this service or this service, and I ain't need none of that shit. And there's like, for anything else, log on to www. So I probably just have to get online and do that shit online and dispute that claim, saying, you know, my Easy Pass has been active for I don't know 10 years. I've had an Easy Pass ever since I moved to PA and realized going up and down the turnpike. Man, I've had an Easy Pass for a long time. But then somebody said it might be old and outdated, and it's not picking up every time, so I might need a new one. Hope everybody's having a God bless good day. How to change my name? Had to change my name due to too many trolls and trying to clone me. Okay. Then they'll listen, yo. Right. Yeah, I'm not trying to come out of pocket $50-something for a fucking $4 toll. That don't settle too well with me. Yeah, but I never thought about just calling them and being like, yo, my Easy Pass is active, that shit is current and up to date, and so y'all should have been able to deduct that shit from my pass. Yeah, he got a little good effort in there. He tried. He tried. Legendary Viking. Too many trolls were cloning your name. Be very careful. It's wabbit season. Duck season, wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season. An Assassin's Creed symbol, I would have to see exactly which one you want and what size canvas would you want it on. But I can tell you right now, because people think I just type this shit up when they be like, oh, how much for this? How much for that? I got a standard price list. It pops up right there. Um, can it flip sideways for a bigger read? Here's my standard list. It says my standard size canvas is an 18 by 24 and my starting price is $500. I will not touch anything for less than $500 minimum. That's a minimum. So that's a baseline right there. Is you already know you're gonna spend at least 500. So that's the minimum. So let me see what you're talking about. All my social links are here. You can contact me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Show me what you want, and call it up. I'm trying to get a big one. But yeah, so that man has given a fair warning. the black the black flag symbol with the Templar emblem inside. I can almost visualize that. I can almost see that. I can almost see that. And once again, I say my standard size canvas is 18 by 24. If you want a smaller size canvas, that does not negate the starting price. So if you want a 10 by 15 canvas, it's still going to be $500. That's what's up. I got you covered though, man. Whatever you want, it will be the highest caliber fine art that you can afford for your money, man. I don't slip on nothing. Any commission that I do, I put my all into it because I'm really proud of my art. So you get what you pay for. Who's catching the hammer now? You get what you pay for, man. I'm not sure. Can't from my channel to Instagram. I'm not sure if my Instagram is linked to this or not. But my name is Travis Prince. If you Google Travis Prince artist, all my shit'll pop up. And right, like I say, right here, all my Instagram and everything is Paintings by the Prince. So I'm really easy to find. Whenever you're ready, bro. You know I'll be right here for you guys. See now, the group of guys in here, they get the long time homie discount. Very few people can get that. Very few people get the homie discount. And most of these guys in here already bought art from me. And see, what I do is every couple of years, I up my starting price $100. So initially, I ain't had no starting price, and I was just doing shit willy-nilly. And then after a couple of years of that, I put a $300 starting price on my art. $300 minimum base. I need that. And then a couple of years later, I put it up to $400. And then about 2 years ago, I put it up to $500. And I'll keep it at $500 for a couple of years, man. You know what I'm saying? But next time I sell a really big piece, or if I have some other major extravagant exhibition or something, boop boop boop, that standard starting price got to go up a little bit more. Every time I accomplish some shit, I think my art becomes more valuable, and that adds value to my collectors who already have art from me. That increases the value of the art that they already have in their personal collection, and then it increases the value of future art as well. And that's why I try to tell people. I've been doing this for a long time, man. I've been telling people for years, get that shit now while it's cheap. Get it now while it's cheap, Because in another 10 to 15 years, I ain't gonna have no paintings for hundreds of dollars. My baseline price is gonna be $1,000 for a commission. Just for a commission, baseline, $1,000. DoorDash. I feel you, bro. I work for a non-profit. I work for a non-profit organization. I don't make a lot of money, dog. I don't. I can't even afford my art. You know, the prices I ask for shit like this, I don't got that money on standby to be like, oh yeah, let me get one of those. Like, I don't got that shit. The struggle real, bro. So I understand. And art is one of those luxury items that is kind of hard to invest in. Yo, P. Next next time I come home, next time I come home, we definitely got to get up, bro. It's been too many years. As soon as as soon as we get up, I'm gonna have some paint with me. And this bitch, this bitch strong. Woo! This is not for beginners. What's up, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? Happy to have everybody in the stream. If this is your first time to Art and Education, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back. I know we've been at it for a couple of months, but we still on this piece. We getting down to the final set of details, and so it is starting to wrap up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're down to like just the books as far as major detailing. We can detail these books in the next week or so, and then fall back and do like some minor touch-up details throughout the piece, and then we'll be calling this one a wrap. So hopefully, like I said, another 2 weeks, I'll be starting on something else. Yo, that's what's up, bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I ain't gonna forget about you. What your name is again? Reggie? Reginald? What? Reginald? Who the fuck is that? Whoa. I'm gonna have to edit that part out. I don't even got that shit in my phone, bro. In my phone, your name is Puff, nigga. Let's just say Puff. You know Puff? Who? Napalm P. Who? I ain't gonna say it no more. That shit went over people's head anyway. Okay, with the puff, the puff. That shit. Whew. That shit beating hard, boy. God damn. Woo. Woo, man. I'm trying so hard not to cough. And I'm gonna. Still. Damn. Still had to cough it out. But them deep coughs like that shit be making my throat burn. I be trying to fight back cough so goddamn hard. Like now. Shit. Oh. A burn on top of burn. You don't cough, you don't get off. That's what they say, man. Coughing good when you smoke your big cough, nigga. That shit rush all the blood back to your head. The motherfuckers be lightheaded after they start going through one of them coughing fits. Head be light in the motherfucker. Oh shit. They won't be trying to cough, man. Hold that shit in, or don't do it at all. Oh man, they about to try to lock my man Trump up, man. Yo, I was debating with this lady on Facebook. I ain't gonna lie, yo. I need to plug my phone in. And then there was her post, and you know, it's Facebook, and it's an older black lady. I ain't even really sure where she from. All right, Miss Brown. Where you from, Miss Brown? She don't she don't really got her information up there like that. Oh, current city, Easton, Pennsylvania. So she's here in PA. Older black woman, probably in her like late 50s, maybe early 60s. So she posted this. Well, she reposted it because this comes from some other guy, and she just. So this is Julius Burmer post, and she shared his post. Dear Trump, don't think of this as prison. Think of it as a place where you will learn valuable skills. Like, people want him to go to jail so bad, and they got all the AI generated images of him in prison and shit. And so she had a couple people post some shit. Then this dude right here, he posted a meme of Hillary. I bought you some emails to read, is what the little caption says. But she didn't go to jail for all her illegal activities and all that shit. All these motherfuckers corrupt. All of them corrupt. They mad because, yo, my man, what up? That's what I'm saying, yo. Exactly. But at the same time, you about to set a precedent for a president. So don't do all this shit to him, and then don't do it to nobody else. Don't throw him under the jail, and don't do it to nobody else. If they plenty of shit Obama could have went to jail for, motherfucking Clinton and Bush, Cheney, motherfucking Hillary, all these motherfuckers, Bill Clinton, you know them niggas on the Epstein list and all that shit. All these motherfuckers do criminal activity. But she talking about, oh, you know, sharing this shit, talking about taking to jail. And so I wrote, I miss Trump. My bank account looked way better when he was in office. He called out fake news, no new wars. He taxed the shit out of companies that took their business outside of the USA. He announced a plan for African Americans to receive reparations. He pulled out of the Green New Deal. He told Europe and the EU that as long as they are energy dependent on Russia, then he will not help them fight Russia. Yep, I miss Trump. And then she said, all I miss is the stimulus money. Oh, you know what? She took one that then she came back and said, Travis, you forgot mad folks dying of COVID and people lining up for food under Trump. How can you like that turd? I'm from New York. I know his character. Then I replied, COVID was allowed to get as bad as it did, and that wasn't his call. And the Federal Reserve causes inflation, which affects food costs. Once again, not his call. He said that it came from a lab and stuck with it. That's the truth. He attacked the central banks. But Biden said you ain't black if you didn't vote for him, but black folks did anyway. And what did we get from it? P.S. I don't vote. I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Biden. I ain't vote for none of them. I'm just saying. And now, as soon as I turn on the interweb, that's when the first things pop up. Oh, Trump getting indicted. They about to take his ass back to court all over again. Like, this is some weird ass shit. How bad they hating on this motherfucker, yo. This some weird shit. How bad they hating on this motherfucker. Like, why, bro? I voted for The Rock and Hulk Hogan, and I was gonna vote for Kanye West, but I got to the polls too late. I took my COVID test today. Lucky I'm good. Love Trap, hate Trump. I feel you, bro. A lot of people, yo, this motherfucker talk weird. For like the first 6 months, I ain't gonna say I couldn't stand this motherfucker, but it's hard for me to listen to his ass. Just the way he talk, like his canter. I don't like me to listen to Biden too. But it's the policies. It's the policies. As soon as this motherfucker talking about some kind of reparations for African Americans, like, whoa. What this nigga just say? Wait a minute. It was the... Yo, I can't remember what that shit was called. It was called the, I forgot what this shit was called. And then he was about to sit down with Ice Cube. Yo, Ice Cube a real ass nigga. And Ice Cube got all kind of ideas for plans to help African Americans. And like, fuck that affirmative action shit. Let's do some real shit. And Trump was willing. Kanye crazy as fuck, but Trump even sat down with him, even as crazy as fuck he is. But if Trump would have met with Ice Cube, like a sane, intelligent, upstanding, like, black dude, not trying to discredit Obama, but, you know, being mixed, you still got to consider both sides, you know what I'm saying? Because you are two in one, and that makes you who you are. And so you would consider, but just a real black, a straight black person, only gonna think about black people. You know what I'm saying? And Ice Cube was gonna go in there with an agenda. Oh, Trump was willing to sit down and listen. That's why I think Trump different. Yo, Pence going against this motherfucker. McConnell went against his ass a lot. Yo, after his first year, even the Republicans didn't like this motherfucker. That means something. Nobody ain't like his ass from either side, because he wasn't no puppet. This motherfucker said, I'll do the job for free. I'll do it for free. This motherfucker could be sitting on the nicest beach, the most beautifulest beach, with the baddest bitch, smoking the most expensive cigar, and drinking the most expensive champagne you've never heard of. That's what he could be doing. But he not. He not. This motherfucker really wanted to be the president because I think he seen something wrong. You know, the country fucked up. And that's why everybody hate this motherfucker now, because they know, like, he don't owe nobody nothing. Yeah, is he the greatest businessman? Nah, this motherfucker done been bankrupt and all that shit, but he always bounced back from everything. And then it's just like, I don't know, when everybody hate a motherfucker, that means something, yo. I didn't know that about the casino. And if he did that for the vote, who don't do that for the vote? Look at Hillary. Oh, so is there anything you carry around with you all the time? Yep, hot sauce. She talking she carry hot sauce with her all the time. And then she talking about, I ain't no ways tired, trying to do a old southern accent like, this bitch Panda Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You not black if you don't vote for me. What the fuck kind of shit is that to say? At least with a plan for reparations, niggas gonna get something out of that shit other than goddamn conjecture and goddamn platitudes and niceties and shit. Show me some money, nigga. Yeah, I'ma vote for you, bitch. Shit, show me the money. This motherfucker a money man. Including Obama, yeah. Out of 33 presidents, next of the kin, Bush is an alien, just look at his skin. Now, you know, I been wrote that shit, yo. 30, back then it was 33 of them. And now, like you say, 37? We ain't had that many presidents. Well, yeah, 2 more. But yeah. I read some shit, it's like at least 33 of these motherfuckers up to fucking like 4th or 5th cousin, 8th cousin, removed once or some shit, all from the same fucking king lineage. Yeah. Bush is a lizard, just look at his skin, and 33 presidents next of his kin. If we don't bang now, then it's never gonna end. Yeah, Bush, 33 presidents are next of his kin. All of them, all related. And see, so I said that with Bush, that mean I was rapping that shit before Obama was even president. And then when Obama got in there, find out because he's mixed. Man, that same bloodline go all the way back to all of them, all related. I can flip, but I won't. I feel you. But I don't know why they trying to hang this man like that. They ain't doing that shit to nobody else. They ain't doing that shit to nobody else.
This happens. Trump appeared glowering and grim as he entered. He's a bit more animated his 3rd time around, exchanging notes and whispered conversations with his attorneys. Proceedings appear to be slightly delayed. Thanks again to Keith for your support. And thank you so much to Lorraine Sweet for your support. I really appreciate it, Lorraine Sweet. Thank you. All right, guys. We are following various reporters who are actually at the courthouse. They're not in the courtroom. They are watching a feed.
Yeah, so this shit is going on like right now.
Feed,
like this nigga in court right now.
Of the proceedings. Some reporters are in the courthouse, but in the courtroom. But
remember, America is not a racist country. I don't know. Yeah, y'all know where I stand on everything. But this Trump shit, that's the one thing, like me and most black folks, I don't know. I don't feel like this motherfucker was bought and paid for. That's the only thing. His family come from money. His family, he didn't make money. Trump ain't make no money. This motherfucker ain't never had to work, none of that shit. This motherfucker come from money. He ain't had to do none of this shit. Nothing he ain't had to do. And then people say, oh, he did it for the fame. And man, you know how stressful this fucking job is? Being the leader of the free world. Ain't nobody want to do that shit for the fucking fame. Most of the time, that's why they ain't like Reagan either. Because Reagan wasn't no politician. This nigga was a fucking actor. Like career politicians, you can't trust them motherfuckers. But somebody who ain't been in politics their whole life, who ain't been like greasing each other's palms for 30 years, and all in Congress, backdoor dealing and all that shit, man. This motherfucker ain't never vote on no war bills or none of that shit. He ain't never done none of that. He just come in with a different way to look at that shit. America is a corporation and he a businessman. It's more about power than anything. But at the same time, when a motherfucker can see the country slipping away and give up his cushy ass fucking way of living to jump into politics. I mean, you gotta respect that shit. And who wouldn't? And who wouldn't? Man, if I got elected president, who gonna be my head of fucking cybersecurity? Duh. Duh, nigga. Like, who wouldn't? If you got, man, yo, fuck that shit. Me and my homies about to run this shit. Who wouldn't? Man, look, bro. And a lot of shit, man, just in his fucking second year, a lot of them spots start switching up. This motherfucker already seen, it ain't take him too long to figure out, look, you not good at that shit. Move out the way. You sneaky, I don't like you. Move out the way. And he started rearranging shit quick, man. And then, like I say, even his VP, like Pence, after a while, he ain't even like Pence. The motherfuckers don't like each other. Trump, like, man, I'm telling you, yo. Just say no. Here you go. The war on drugs. Gather all your dreams, consider them tuned, this often has no room. I don't know. Like I say, hey, I ain't vote for the man though. I still haven't found a candidate that really gonna get me to go to the ballot box and be like, I want this gentleman or this lady. Pence flipped on him. Yo, cause this motherfucker not gonna listen to the Republican Party, yo. This motherfucker said America first, and he meant that shit. I'm about to build a wall. Y'all niggas is not gonna keep getting in the country all easy for free, soaking up everything for free, not paying no taxes. That shit got to stop. First thing first, let's build a wall. This motherfucker tackle immigration. Nothing that nobody don't want to talk about. Because we already know that fucking illegal immigrants make up a major part of the workforce, which is cheap labor, and companies and corporations love cheap labor. This motherfucker really, really, really wanted to tackle immigration and motherfucking companies operating offshore and shit. Told Ford, if you build that plant in Mexico, I will tax you to fucking death. It won't even be worth it. You build that plant in Mexico and see what happens. You better build that shit in Detroit and give Americans jobs. So I liked a lot of shit. He hurry up and flipped on the fucking taxes. So his first year in office, motherfucker got more back on their tax return. This motherfucker said, no new wars. Admit that shit. I'm not fucking with none of y'all. Y'all having some issues over there, handle it yourself. We be spending too much money on these wars. The motherfucker said no new wars. He ain't try to war with nobody. He went and go to North Korea and go sit down and talk with this motherfucker. And he went and go talk with Putin, and he told everybody, I'm not having all this war shit. Y'all be spending too much money on the wars. But nobody ain't want to listen to him. He told EU, he's like, y'all motherfuckers is energy dependent on Russia. And y'all fucking around with this Ukraine trying to get him in the UN. I'm not helping y'all. If y'all start anything, I'm not helping. Because y'all shouldn't be dependent on these people and then ask us for help if something happens. No new wars. No new wars, yo. If you smell But there's two economies though. There's the national economy, and then there's the economy of the fucking arm factories and goddamn the military industrial complex. That's a whole different economy, man. And that's just like the banking system. Like the national economy, that shit kind of separate from all these other economies because they benefit from that shit, and there is no trickle down benefits for everybody else. Just losses. If you don't got no shares and stocks in Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and BlackRock and all that shit, then that shit don't benefit us that we at war. All that shit do is give military personnel a career, and if you get discharged any kind of way, you'll be a homeless vet like thousands of other homeless vets who fought for this fucking country. It's a different. It's different economy. Yeah, it fuels. Yeah, war definitely fuels economy, but not our national economy. That shit don't really help us. That shit don't help us no kind of way because we at war all the time.
They have their phones with them, but there are other reporters who are in the media room watching the proceedings live, and they are posting updates. The prosecution and defense are about 15 feet from each other, facing each other. The judge is not in the room.
Oh, you're not about to benefit from no cashless society neither. There's more control. There's more top-down control, man. These motherfuckers know, man, we not about to be the reserve currency for the world much longer. And so they're going to switch us to this central bank digital currency. And then they're going to do... Hold on. Where that shit at? Tupac. How long ago that nigga wrote that shit, though?
Don't get public shamed. There it is. Look at this guy. Oof, got him. Oh, got her, dude. Oh, no. Oh. So, just so you guys know, do not jaywalk in China. You will be shamed.
You jaywalked and you had facial recognition.
I actually got this. Yeah, so also I was jaywalking in Nanshan, and all of a sudden I got a fine to my WeChat. Was it instant? It was about 20 seconds after, I guess. And because I had money in my balance, it just went straight out. This is just the most simple thing. It just came straight out. Didn't even know.
This motherfucker was in China. And they got facial recognition cameras on all the crosswalks and everything. If you get caught in the crosswalk, when that light changes, it takes a picture of your ass. It puts you up on the screen, says your name, and publicly shame you for not adhering to public policy. And then it immediately finds you, and it comes straight out of your account. That's what they're going to do with this fucking digital currency. That shit will be linked to everything. And if you don't want to pay a fine immediately, it don't matter. Say you got a parking ticket. And you're going to pay it, but I'm going to pay it not this week. I'll pay it next week when I get paid. And I'll take care of it next week. You ain't got no choice. Now. Right now. We're taking that. All that shit gonna be connected. Little simple shit. You jaywalking, you ain't push your cart back when you left the grocery store. Yo, that's what they're trying to bring here, bro. That social credit score. It's gonna be the same shit over here once they get everybody digitized on that money. Yo, that's why I'm writing this shit. Digital domination. I love aspects of it and I hate aspects of it. I love certain things about technology. I hate certain things about technology. What are we gonna do? Hmm? If the cart thing was real, what is that? We don't got a lot of time, man. I really thought like this shit was like some futuristic shit. I read so much science fiction my whole life. I'm like, man, in hundreds of years, shit gonna be crazy. Not hundreds of years, like decades now. In the next 10 years, 20 years, shit gonna be so weird. I'm a jaywalk while moonwalking. What they gonna do about that? The camera from the other side of the street, man. You think it's just one camera, bro? China, I think China got like one camera for every 3 people, yo. And they got millions of people over that bitch, yo. I'm telling you, bro, they gonna get you for not doing everything, nigga. You grocery shopping and you pick up an item and you walk through the store and you decide you don't want that shit and you put it back somewhere else that not where it's supposed to go, they gonna get you for that shit. If you pull up anywhere to a parking lot and you don't park perfectly in between the lines, they gonna get you for that shit. Every little thing, bro. You're gonna have to be a perfect citizen. You know what I'm saying? Perfect citizen. Motherfuckers see you throw a piece of trash out. Ooh, boy, you drop like
When will the judge come in? Trump has been.
you walking down the street smoking a cigarette, you flip that cigarette butt, instant fine. You drop your McDonald's cup, you throw that shit out the window while you driving, instant fine. It's the third right coming. I don't know, man. Yeah, they got cameras everywhere. Your phone takes constant pictures of you. You can only see it with another camera. You can't see that shit with your eye. I don't, if I'm looking at it like this, I don't see this fucking light flashing. But if you put it up to another camera, every like minute or so, your phone takes pictures of you. And they say that is for your facial recognition too. So that it keeps a constant record of your face, so any way you hold your phone, when you open it, it can register your face. So it's always watching you and always taking pictures of you. Every time that little light flashes, the self checkouts is crazy. Just sitting there watching yourself. They gotta see everything you buy, yo. They need to scan and track everything we do so that they can better advertise to us and organize the world so we are like better consumers. Like showing the flash. But your camera, that fucking that light, if you ever watch that shit, there it goes. It's like every 40 seconds or some shit, like it just takes a picture of you. Or takes a picture of the room or whatever is looking at. That shit is constantly photographing, yo. write a message on a piece of paper and let. Yo, and like I say, me looking at it, I don't see that. That shit is in infrared. Our eyes can't register the infrared. Like you don't see it happening. It's the weirdest thing. Like why can't we see it? Why don't they just make the light visible to us so we can see when our phone is taking pictures? But then I was watching this Black Mirror episode called Jane is Awful, and they were able to like create an almost instantaneous TV show about this lady's life, like day by day as shit happens, and she's questioning her lawyer like, how in the fuck are they doing this shit? I just did that earlier yesterday, and they already got it on TV. She was like, your fucking phone, that shit listens and takes constant pictures, and then everyone else's phone around you, we can basically see and hear everything you're doing all the time, know exactly where you're at, what room you're in, what's in the room with you. And we can gather that data instantaneously, feed that shit to an AI algorithm, and that shit spits out a whole reconstruction of your life with no actors. It's all CGI, AI written scripts, and voiceovers. It's very similar to the Truman Show. You gotta watch it, bro. It's the first episode of the new season. But at the end, you realize that it's a fucking simulation. And the whole show takes place in a simulation. And when the actors in the simulation realize that they're not in base reality, that they're in a simulation, they break the system. And then it jumps to base reality where the real people are, and they go about living their lives. That shit crazy, bro. So are we the simulation, or is this base reality is what it try to get you to think too? And then if our technology is getting so advanced, can we really create a simulation that has thinking beings that don't realize they're in a simulation? But that episode, I watched a few of them, but that one was like one of the better ones, yo. Jane is Awful. Yo, every time, bro. Every time. Silo? Common?
Room for over 20 minutes now. Hey, thanks, Lori Hawkins, for the Facebook stars. I really appreciate Lori Hawkins. What will happen next? What will happen next in that courtroom? A tense scene there, it sounds like, in the courtroom. Not seeing any updates at the moment. Waiting for updates. Cyan Doodle says, wonder if delay is on purpose. It is now 4:14 p.m. The arraignment was supposed to start at 4. It has not started yet.
What y'all think for real though? Honestly.
Sandy says, does Trump's family...
Y'all think Trump gonna go to jail for real? Foolish humans. Still have no idea what's really going on. Shine a laser pen and fuck up the video. It's too obvious standing in line though. You'd be like, got your little laser pointer. Sir, what are you doing? Nothing? Nothing? Ain't doing nothing. What is that? Is that a laser? Nope. I don't have anything. See? Nothing. For the hush money thing, that's not illegal, bro. That's not illegal. Hush money not illegal. If you cheating on your wife, and I find out, and I tell you, you better give me $1,000, or I'm snitching. That's not illegal. OJ didn't go to jail. Trump won't go to jail. That's crazy.
My dad used to say that we work in acres, not hours. He was proud of that. He said, this is for me. This is what I want to do. How y'all doing? Every day's a new blessing. How you? He's a good kid. He's just a kid. Takes a little while. This is mean, man. Your dad would love that. I don't know about that. Hey, boys. I need you out here. Been five's going sour. Do y'all do that a lot? No. Just the Philippians. I won't know why. Something so selfless and something so simple. It goes south so quick. Sir! Shut it off! Shut it off! It's been negative. Come, 3. And 24. That's 1.5 million pounds of corn in there. There's a lot of pressure on that kid's lungs. Standard procedure's gonna kill that kid. Bring my son back to me.
Well, that can't be what y'all was talking about, because that was a movie. You said it was on Apple TV?
As an actor, to walk onto a set where you have depth and height and shape and everything is authentic, it just creates realism for us to play around in.
The Silo is incredibly cinematic. It's a new world told in a completely new way.
This is as big as any feature film. The number of sets we have is 70 plus.
When we designed the silo, we decided to make all the building blocks circular.
What we see is not what's out there.
You know what? I did see the preview for this. I saw this preview already. But I don't got Apple TV.
We do not know why we are here. We do not know who built the silo.
Yeah, they've been trapped down in somewhere. It's kind of like Plato's parable of the shadows in the cave or some shit. Y'all motherfuckers y'all been out there so long, y'all don't even remember. Y'all just keep at it. Just because that's all y'all know. Yeah, I saw that preview. It looks good too, like you said. It looks like a really good show. But I don't know how I could watch it though, unless my man Puff would be so generous to let me share in his Apple TV subscription. Then I can watch Silo, and then we can talk about it. But I love that dystopian, futuristic type shit, yo. That's like Fallout is one of my favorite series. The Walking Dead is one of my favorite series. Like, I don't know, man. There you go, because it seems so easy to get to any kind of point like that. 1984 and Brave New World are some of my favorite books because they speak of like this reality that could absolutely be possible if we don't watch out and be careful. There's so many people who can see all the fucking stumbling blocks we're placing in front of ourselves and how it can quickly lead to our fucking eradication. Once again, if we're not careful, like it's so easy to get on a slippery slope. Get on the slippery slope and just fuck everything up. But then it's always about that breaking point too, where either we're gonna reset this shit and start over and have a different way of thinking, or continue on the same path that hasn't gotten us anywhere. And so that sounds like not like a coming of age story, but that definitely is that awakening type moment where the masses, the populace, it just needs that leader who got the spark. Somebody charismatic enough to be like, yo, this shit need to change, yo. And then you break through and you come out of the fucking silo into the real world because your eyes have been blinded the whole time. You ain't really been seeing reality, man. The propaganda has brainwashed you to only see what it wants you to see. Once again, that's why I say watch that movie, They Clone Tyrone. Bro, I'm telling y'all, man, that shit is so good. So good, man. I know I keep talking about that shit, but They Clone Tyrone. The message in that shit is awesome. When it was called Lost. He said I liked it better when it was called Lost. Ever wonder why Trump is the only president to not be referred to as Mr. President? He still gets called Mr. Trump. Because that's how much people just disrespect him and don't like this motherfucker, yo. That's just disrespect. That's all it is. And I do hear a lot of people say former President Trump, motherfuckers. But the people who just say Mr. Trump or whatever, that's just disrespect. Trying to like not acknowledge the fact that he was duly elected. Like motherfucker really was elected. But then even when he got elected, Hillary was crying, oh fraud, and we need a recount and all that shit, and throwing all kind of accusations at him. But then when he did the same thing to Biden, motherfuckers like, oh, shut the fuck up. It was a fair vote and all this shit. But everybody does that shit every time. And saying, I don't care who gets elected. Somebody on the other side gonna say they cheated. And so when Trump said he got cheated, everybody started saying, oh, you just mad, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, this dude can't do nothing right. You remember when you said grab him by the pussy? You remember when you said shithole countries? And that's kind of harsh to say. But at the same time, I mean, some countries are kind of are like shitholes. You don't want to go to certain places. And that's just the reality of it. Motherfuckers don't want to go certain places, man. Y'all not doing good. Y'all don't got no tourism over here. And nobody don't want to be here. The government's corrupt. The economy's shit. It's a shithole country. But he can't talk like that. And this, oh man, look. That's what I know, man. If I was president, then the same thing. Nobody from neither side would like me at all. Y'all niggas is not gonna like me. I'm gonna do the same thing. News is fake, nigga. Y'all don't know that. How long we been saying the news was fake before Trump said it? We know that shit. I agree with him. The news is fake. We know that shit. But to have a president to say that shit to the people who don't know the news is fake, that's big. I don't care who you are. That's big, man. Because that shit made a lot of motherfuckers think. Like, what? What is he saying? He's telling you the truth, man. This shit, most of this news is fucking made up shit, bro. For their agenda. Who agenda? The fucking banking industry and the corporations. This motherfucker is spilling all the beans. And that's why nobody from either side liked his ass. The Republicans like, whoa, bro, you doing too much. We already know the Democrats gonna be opposed to everything, but even the Republicans is like, man, you kind of snitching us out too. Like, duh, bitch. That motherfucker went in there, no holds bars. And people thought all his campaign shit was supposed to be rhetoric. I'm gonna drain the swamp. I'm gonna drain the swamp. And this motherfucker really tried to start draining the swamp, then everybody on both sides was like, whoa, 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 nigga. That was just supposed to be campaign stuff. It's called convicted President Trump. Mr. President. Damn.
Ever go with him to court. I don't believe the family has been there for any of the 3 indictments over the last few months. I don't believe that has happened. Update from Zoe Tillman. Zoe Tillman with Bloomberg has just posted an update. Trump is continuing to talk with his lawyer Blanche while they wait for the judge to arrive. At one point, picking up paper in front of him and appearing to discuss that. Default position is still sitting with hands clasped on the table, leaning forward.
They got a play-by-play of his movements. He's leaning up. He's holding some papers. He's putting the papers down. He's going back to his default position. Yo, this is wild. I don't know, man. This shit is crazy.
We are waiting for the judge. The judge is here.
Oh, the judge
breaking news. Breaking news. We have breaking news. The hearing has begun. Breaking news. Breaking news. The hearing has begun. Zoe Tillman reports Judge Mojila Upadhyay is on the bench. Hearing has begun. Breaking news. Breaking news. The arraignment has begun. About 15 minutes late.
Judge say, bitch, you on my time.
NBC News' Kelly O'Donnell report that the magistrate judge took the bench at 4:15 p.m.
Judge, they're gonna make you look bad. Fuck that shit. Make this bitch wait.
Scott McFarlane reports Trump shifts his body to face the judge. Trump shifts his body to face the judge. Thomas Wyndham and Molly Gaston are representing the special counsel. Gaston presented the indictment from grand jury Tuesday. Judge calls him Mr. Trump. Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news from Scott McFarlane. Judge calls him Mr. Trump. In Florida, federal judge used title former President Trump. Oh, boy. Are you reading into that at all?
Of course, it's disrespect. Like I said, it's just disrespectful. That's all it is. Judge don't like his ass. Nobody don't like him.
Scott McFarlane also just posted saying, judge begins. Hold on. Where is it here? Where is it here? I just saw it here. Judge begins by reminding all in the courthouse not to record any images or photos. Phones off in courtroom itself. So in the courtroom itself, if you're a media member or you're anybody else, you can't have your phone on. If you're in the media room elsewhere in the courthouse watching this, you are not allowed to take a picture of the live feed. You're not allowed to record the live feed. So that suggests to me we will not see any picture images of this. Update from Scott McFarlane. Update. I just saw it right now. Trump stands, raises his right hand, and takes the oath from courtroom deputy. Wow, we have the whole play-by-play thanks to reporters like Scott McFarlane. Zoe Tillman reports Trump raises his right hand to be sworn in and says, I do. Update from Scott McFarlane. Update from Scott McFarlane. Check it out. Here we go. Judge, again calling him Mr. Trump, not former President Trump, says she will arraign Trump today and consider any conditions for Trump's release. And now judge just called Trump sir.
It's a woman judge too? This motherfucker ain't got no chance, nah, bro. Women hate him more than dudes do. He ain't got no chance.
John Santucci of ABC News posted this. He said, beginning the proceedings, the judge said to Trump, good
names,
afternoon,
not
Mr.
titles.
Trump. John Santucci says, if there's one thing I know Trump loves, it's that he's called Mr. President now.
Yeah, but she's not trying Mr. President. She's trying Donald J. Trump.
Hugo Lowell reports, update from Hugo Lowell. Update from Hugo Lowell. Trump's response when asked by the judge his age, 7'7".
Trump not doing bad for 77.
Scott McFarlane says the judge is now reading the 4 felony counts Trump faces.
Like when he gives interviews, he's still pretty quick, pretty sharp. You know what I'm saying? 77, I still think that's too old to be a president. I'm thinking like you can't be older than 65 to be the
Scott
president.
McFarlane says Trump is making no use of the pen or paper nearby.
Like,
Judge Mojila Upadhyay is reading the 4 felony counts which Trump faces.
4 felonies. But then how many felonies Hunter Biden got?
Zoe Tillman has an update. Let me show you Zoe Tillman's latest update. Judge asked Trump to state his full name. Donald J. Trump John, he says. She asks his age, 77. She asks, have you taken any medication that would make it difficult to understand the proceedings? He says no. Scott McFarlane says...
Breaking news. What is this from my Apple report? Apple News notifications.
Let me show you what Scott McFarlane just updated.
Trump pleads not guilty to 4 charges over efforts to overturn 2020 election.
Trump's hands are clasped in his lap.
Ex-president arraigned on 4 felony counts, marking his 3rd criminal indictment this year. Trump arraignment live updates. So I keep pausing this stream, so we're actually like 40 minutes behind. That's why this shit right here just popped off. I guess it's all over now. Trump traveled from Bedminster Club in New Jersey to Washington on Thursday with his lawyers. While they were unnamed, the descriptions of 5 of the 6 matched those of Trump lawyers Rudy Giuliani, Powell, Eastman, and Chesbro. Trump has been indicted in an unrelated case in the Manhattan district attorney who charged him over hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. In a post share on his social media platform, platform Truth Social on Thursday, Trump said he viewed the indictment as a great honor because I am being arrested for you. We don't really get to any. Yeah, this is like talking the news right now. Lock him up. He's a flight risk. Damn.
He's leaning forward, almost hunched, with his body turned to the left to face the judge.
Yeah, man. The only thing Trump could do is goddamn.
Tierney Sneed of CNN says the judge is now
goddamn
walking Trump through the counts of the indictment and their associated penalties.
some plastic surgery, because his face so well known. If this motherfucker did run anywhere, you know, everybody who looked like Trump gonna get caught
Update
on.
from Zoe Tillman here. The judge reads off the counts that Trump is charged with and the maximum penalties. Trump is leaning forward towards her, appearing to be listening. I don't see his expression changing or any movement, but again, the camera is some distance off.
Damn, did I really do that just now?
Update from Adam Classfield. Here's an update from Adam Classfield. Dispelling speculation about the final charge, the maximum penalty on that one is 10 years. Judge Upadhyay informs Trump of his rights, including his right to remain silent. Scott McFarlane reports Judge explains to Trump that if he can't afford a lawyer, one would be provided to Trump.
The disrespect, bitch. I know you gotta say all this shit, but come on, bitch. You already know, bitch. I got the best lawyer. I got all my lawyers right here with me. I came here with my lawyers. Why are you even saying that part? Ceremony. That's all it is, man. Ceremony.
Trump arraignment underway.
Pony
Hey,
show,
thank
man.
you, Carla Reed. I appreciate it. Carla Reed, thank you.
Goddamn witch.
Okay, breaking news, Trump pleads not guilty. Breaking news, Trump pleads not guilty. Breaking news. Breaking news.
Yeah, we already knew this. We already knew this dude ain't going down without no fight.
Trump pleads not guilty. Breaking news.
I thought they was gonna have some cameras or something in there. This is the only way to kind of hear what's going on inside the courtroom. But I mean, we already knew that shit. Motherfucker ain't gonna plead guilty to none of that shit. This shit is pretty funny though. Soap on the rope. You don't like Fox News neither, bro? Damn, man, how we so cool with each other but don't like the same politics, man? Yo, Fox was my shit until they took Tucker Carlson off. Now I don't watch that shit no more.
This is a camera lucida, and for the whole of the 19th century, it was the indispensable drawing aid for great masters and technical illustrators alike. And yet, it's virtually unknown today.
The camera lucida allows you to trace what you see. Technically, it superimposes a virtual image of your subject onto your paper.
That emerged that was supposedly the first ever on Earth, ever, and we'll get into that in a second. But how that led to everything else. That's what this is all about. It's about putting breadcrumbs together in puzzle pieces to recreate history in a way where we not only are we shattering paradigms, but we're paving a completely new road that's never been paved.
I have a quick question just before you go all the way deep on that, because it's been permeating throughout this whole time where I'm like, oh, where could this tie in? Evolutionarily, if we're talking about multiple different generations across catastrophe, it means that human beings were something very close to us across these different spectrums of time existed, meaning we evolved obviously a very, very long time ago. So do you have any thoughts on when exactly that happened and what the first parts of like what we would consider air quotes like human I guess like presence on this planet?
The reason why I did a 200,000 year timeline is not just circumstantial evidence. What we find, and I really would encourage people to look into the work of Lloyd Pye.
Lloyd, like P-I?
P-Y-E.
P-Y-E.
He was a genius in my mind, and I don't agree with everything he said in regards to some, let's say, some of what he connected with ancient Sumer and everything, but what he was an expert on is looking at genetic traits of humans. He basically was an expert at studying genetic traits and looking for diversions within the lines of humans. And what he found was that 200,000 years ago. Supposedly the exact creation of the first city, and maybe even referencing the whole like Adam and Eve type of story, just the creation, some kind of a taking a blueprint of a human, like a Neanderthal Denisovian, and somehow something else completely emerges. Something comes out of nowhere that's not as related to that as we think. As related to Neanderthal and Denisovians, something totally different. Something that is more like a child of the universe, where we have it's really weird how, like, for instance, the Earth has almost the exact same amount of water as we do in our body, and how our blood is composed of iron. It's the same core that the Earth spins. We're like perfectly designed for this Earth, is the best way to describe it.
Yes.
Like, we're perfect here, okay? But not in a way where we're supposed to be hunter-gathering or living primitively. We no longer, all of a sudden, the hair mostly lost off our body. He discusses how all of the traits that would be necessary for us to survive in the way we've been told just all of a sudden vanished. And some will be like, well, evolutionarily, they really don't need them anymore. But no, this happened like out of nowhere. It's not like it's a slow thing. And we've also never observed any kind of a primate in any stage of a change over the course of human history, ever.
Never.
Not even one slight change where it was like converting into something else. And I'm not someone who's completely against all aspects of evolution.
Sure.
I want to make that clear. What I realize is that, based on others, is that evolution may be more based on the macro versus the micro. So, like, for instance, I think that an animal, yes, can develop more hair or change things like, yeah, those things absolutely happen. But for something to be able to, for instance, go from a giraffe or like a whale to us, I don't understand how that'd be possible. And I want to give an example of that. I talk about how in Australia, there's a creature there that proves that I believe it proves that evolution isn't exactly what we've been told. Not
What's the creature?
The platypus.
Oh, the platypus.
Are you familiar with the platypus?
Yes, I am familiar with the platypus.
Platypus is the weirdest goddamn animal on Earth. Okay?
I'll put a picture in the corner of the screen
Okay.
for people who aren't familiar.
It's a mammal that lays eggs that's poisonous. That is supposed to be like a half bird, half duck. It doesn't make sense.
But is it possible that something like that was through evolution and the diversity that it was across these millions of species, it happened to be located in an area that evolved it to be a hybrid type animal?
It's potential, but I want to give an example for why I think that's not true.
Okay.
Lloyd Pye pointed out this really weird thing about humans. I don't know if you know this yet, but humans have 46 chromosomes and all primates have 48. All primates on Earth.
I didn't know that.
Every single primate has 48 chromosomes. It has to do with packages of DNA, basically.
Yes.
Okay? What they found within the human Homo sapiens sapien was that there was something within our DNA where parts of it had been, like, altered. Yeah, I'm like serious. And what they call those alterations and those things that scientists don't know, they call it junk DNA.
That's it, junk DNA.
That's what scientists call it, because when they compared every other comparative thing on Earth genetically,
What's good, bro?
they found this small little area within our genetics that doesn't match anything on the planet.
Is it possible that we are still too primitive, technologically speaking, to properly test something like that?
Perhaps, but here's the thing.
Listening to this dude talk about like different theories and hypotheses of lost ancient civilizations, like that predate most of what we know. This is one of my favorite topics.
That's weird. Like Reynolds says, we've been taught everything's based on gradualism, whether it's geology or genetics, or evolutionary changes, meaning things happen very slowly over a very long period of time. However, we know from these disasters that that's not true. We know that the Earth does go through periods when extreme things happen. It doesn't happen all the time.
It's not.
Yeah, but
I can't explain it. So therefore, aliens. I don't know. It does. Like you said, when you look at that junk DNA scenario, and no other animals really have that, but then they look at us and we study ourselves, and it's like, oh well, these sections and codes don't even do anything. They're kind of like switched off. which means what if they were active? What abilities would we have? Would we be able to live longer or grow gills or I don't fucking know. They just call it junk DNA. That shit seems pretty weird. But it also appears that something has tampered with us. And that's why we have these segments of DNA that apparently don't go to anything and don't work for anything, which is weird. Like, why would that be? Yeah, and then we lose our gills too after we finish breathing the embryonic fluid and our lungs develop. But what if there is a way that we had lungs and gills? Like that dude from the Black Panther movie. That's the last one. The aqua soldier dude, whatever. This motherfucker can breathe air and water. So I don't know. It's just a lot of weird shit that has happened in our past, and we just can't really figure out. But me included, a lot of people just think that there's a possibility that there has been multiple civilizations that were, that span the entire globe. Like this isn't the first time we've had a global civilization. It almost seems impossible. Swim, walk, and fly. I feel you, bro. Right? When you think about like Atlantis, and I think Atlantis was a real place, but even Atlantis probably knew of a civilization more ancient than them. And if Atlantis is, or if it were a real empire, and all we have left is the one little set of stories. Imagine what they knew about their predecessors and how their culture grew and developed over time. They must have known of a culture and civilization, like I say, more ancient than them, than themselves. And then when you look at like I don't know, man, the fact that there's pyramids everywhere, like it just seems, I don't know, it doesn't seem logical that everybody would build the same way. So like I said, I'm almost certain there was like some other highly advanced civilization at Herodotus. He taught Waterworld. That shit was crazy. I gotta keep my faith out of this conversation. It would be a long convo. I'm gonna hop online right after this, man. We can chat a little bit. I like that. I'm not I definitely study religions, but I'm not religious. But at the same time, like even these old tales and myths, they all line up, even with biblical scriptures and other Indian and Hindu legends. Like everything tells the same story of the gods that came from heaven, which means above us, which means from someplace we can't reach. It's not like they say, oh, one of our people turned into a god or something. Like, no, the gods always come from the sky. or they live in the sky. Even the God of the Bible is in the heavens, up above, in the clouds, in the sky. Like, so these people always come from the sky and come down, and they make us or develop us or interbreed with us, and then they give us the knowledge. And then they choose, normally they choose some kind of kingship, some role for the humans, so that they don't have to interact with us directly. They choose like some kind of emissary or messiah or prophet or something, you know. And so it's always that same story. So where does that story originate from? Where's the first one? And that's like you have to take into consideration all these scriptures too, because they're all valid. They all attempt to tell, you know, this oldest story, which is the story of creation. Where did we come from? That's what everybody wants to know. Where did we come from? So you got to listen to all of that, and then you got to listen to the archaeological files and findings and research too, and blend everything together to kind of get like a whole picture of like when this shit started and where this shit really come from. Because we still at that point of we don't fucking know. We're not really sure yet. But we're getting kind of close. Especially with Göbekli Tepe, even like young Earth creationists believe that the Earth is like 10 or like 6 to 10,000 years old if you're going on a biblical timeline. And most other, just like other researchers would say, you know, there wasn't any real civilization before 6,000 years ago. But then you find Göbekli Tepe, and this shit doubles the time. This shit is like 12,000 years old. And so now you got to question like this whole timeline of everything now. Like if these people were doing this 12,000 years ago, and we only thought civilization, like real civilization, began only 6,000 years ago, and we really do got to reevaluate some stuff. Because now the timeline ain't adding up. And if Göbekli Tepe is as complex of a site as it is, these people didn't come up with all that technology and engineering, planning, and construction methods overnight. It took them some time to develop the tools and techniques used to actually build, construct, and erect Göbekli Tepe. So where did that knowledge come from, and how long has that been getting passed around, and what culture started that shit? And so now you're on a whole spiral on this new time loop. Robert Schoch redated the Sphinx in 1996. And motherfuckers still were like, oh, the Giza Plateau is only, you know, roughly 4,500 years old. Like, no, it's not. It's way older than that. It's way, way older. Then you look at the different accounts of Atlantis, you know, maybe yeah, maybe no, but you can't really dismiss it though. You have to take it into consideration.
Okay, those extreme moments also seem to have occurred with us. And what I mean is, not only take the chromosome thing for a minute, like, which is very, very strange, because how something like a splicing of the DNA or altering could happen naturally, I've seen no anthropologist or scientist that can explain that. It's not talked about because it's sort of like hush hush. The whole junk DNA aspect of this, because we do share like 98% with like a cow.
I really do. One of the types of guests I haven't had in here that I want to have in very badly is like an evolutionary biologist.
Yeah, Lloyd Pye died though, unfortunately. Really
no,
sad.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm talking about like just a
general
qualified
one. Yeah.
to go through it.
And what Lloyd Pye also determined, besides the chromosomes and besides the human body totally changing, structurally too, it started to take on characteristics that were not suitable to survive in the wilds at all.
Like what?
Our ability to, like, for instance, we're not strong anymore at all. Neanderthals and Denisovians were unbelievably strong.
Right.
We the strength of what we are is like nothing compared to what they are. The way that we have genetic diseases and the way our bone structure is and everything, it's like it was designed in a way to function for a different reason, to not be living off the land, to function as something with like a greater purpose, is the way I would describe it. Okay, and what Lloyd discovered was that 200,000 years ago, the human brain more than doubled in size. 200,000 years ago.
At once.
Yes, out of nowhere. And then we go to places like Göbekli Tepe to bring it back home to that. They radiocarbon date those pillars to be 11,600 years old, but they find, this is what's fascinating, that when they dig down through the layers underneath Göbekli Tepe to try to like basically give a timeline of figuring out when things happened, they find something so unusual that you're never going to hear anyone mainstream talking about it. They find that the Göbekli level, that they have this advanced, with agriculture and other things that came out of nowhere. Like literally, there's like a layer where all of a sudden agriculture and all these things start happening. And then the layer right below it, they find hunter-gatherer evidence.
Right. So I've heard Graham talk about this a ton. So one of the questions there would be, is there, first of all, can you define for people who are, again, basically unfamiliar with this, what you mean when you say hunter-gatherer, and then we'll go off some.
So there was, just like there is today, with all the advancement we have as humans and flying around with jets, there are still very remote places in the world where people have no technology.
Yes.
And live literally like in another world.
Yep.
Notion has been the centerpiece of my workflow. It's quite literally an extension of my brain. I can take notes, create.
What's one of the examples?
There's an island off of India that is
Yes.
famous because literally they like killed someone in the past or something, right?
Yeah, like you can't even approach it.
And so that same thing was going on then, but to a greater degree. And I want to point that out. It's like there was two things going on at the same time, which is so confusing, which is why so much of this is getting meshed together.
Well, think about it though too, because sometimes I get confused why we get confused by this. Like human beings are so interconnected because there's fucking 8 billion of us, and like we have technology and can communicate all over the world. Only 400, 500 years ago, guys were sailing across into the goddamn abyss to fucking find shit that they knew nothing about. And when we look at other species, like be it like on the monkey side, right? There's different types who maybe some of them don't communicate with each other and don't recognize the sameness of each other, right? You've heard about like chimps eating monkeys and stuff like that. So
they seem like different, like disconnected.
What's to say that at some point when there was a lower number of humans at a much smaller touch point of communication, why they wouldn't recognize a human as another human, which we are literally, I think, seeing when you talk about like those people in those islands and stuff who are just like, oh, someone comes on, like, kill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see this in the Amazon still to this day.
Yeah. I think that what was going on was confusing to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what was going on is not like now. Like those people in those islands, they do know we exist. These people didn't know what was happening there. Imagine there's a primitive type of person that's been here for 100,000 years or more, wandering around, right, living in caves, killing animals, like trying to survive. And imagine if all of a sudden this area of Sumer, Mesopotamia, this emergence of a different human comes, like out of nowhere. And it's not related to evolutionary means.
So what are you getting at that it could be related to?
I firmly believe, after studying the tablets, to the degree that it's extensive as I possibly can, they echo the same thing over. It's like it's almost over the top. They try to compete for claim. Like for instance, there's Babylonian tablets and there's Sumerian tablets and Akkadian. They're from different time periods, but in them it's kind of funny because like there's a Babylonian version of the same tablet. Like the Enuma Elish or something, it's called. In terms of Enuma Elish for Babylon and then in Sumer. And what we find is that they try to claim ownership for creation of humans.
But I don't know. I definitely do believe in Atlantis. One of my mans, his name is his channel is called Bright Insight. His name is Jimmy, and he has this a couple of good series on this place in Africa. It's called the Eye of Africa, or the Rishak structure. And when you look at it, you can just imagine if it was filled with water, it would look like fucking Atlantis, bro. And that shit is so obvious. You just Google the Eye of Africa, and he believes that's where Atlantis was at. But then a lot of people believe that Atlantis just wasn't a location, just one place. Atlantis was like, just say the UN. Like, you know, there's more than one place in the UN. And so Atlantis was more like a nation of sorts, and not just like this one mega metropolis. And then when you look at can we Google that real quick? Let's see. Underwater. See, I type better on my phone because it's just closer right now. Let's see. I got a phone. Underwater. But then when you see shit like this, Google that shit. Underwater city off the coast of Cuba. This is off the coast of fucking Cuba. It's 2,000 feet down. It's a legit sunken pyramid complex. This shit was everywhere. Could this be Atlantis? And the motherfuckers who found this shit weren't even looking for that shit, yo. They were legit looking for oil. Legit looking for oil. And the motherfucker seen this shit. He sat on that bitch for a couple weeks. Cause he was like, man, motherfucker gonna think I'm crazy. I made this shit up. But people still don't know what to think of that shit, yo. So there was something. There was one time when this shit wasn't always underwater. So there was one time this was 2,000 feet above sea level. And there's one off the coast of China. And there's one off the coast of Turkey. And so we do know that there was a great flood. And we do know that our cities sank beneath the ocean. There's proof of that shit. So were one of these cities, specifically Atlantis, are they a part of a global culture, a global civilization that was called Atlantis? It's hard to tell. It's hard to figure that one out. That's all these dudes sitting right here, just going over hard facts about the Sumerian tablets and this and that, and then just trying to add all this shit up. And once again, taking into account biblical texts and all kind of legends and myths. Because each legend and myth that shit is rooted in something. That shit is rooted in some kind of reality. Where all that shit extend from, that's what motherfuckers be trying to piece together. I'm definitely along for the ride though. Now once again, this ancient progenitor culture, this progenitor civilization, were they aliens? I don't know about that shit. They may be alien to us. If we were ever to see them, maybe there were the first iteration of intelligent beings on this planet that, you know, didn't evolve the way that we did and didn't look exactly like us. Once again, the elongated skulls of Paracus. I think that's how like some of the ancient beings looked. They were taller and probably had like a purplish tint to their skin. And motherfuckers had long ass fucking skulls.
Oh.
My bad, my computer just restarted. I had to pull everything back up. Yo, this shit gotta restart and update every day or some dumb shit. I hate this laptop.
Different tablets for different people. So like Bel Marduk I mentioned, and by the way I want to correct what I said before, I couldn't remember the name of the conqueror of Babylon. His name was Cygnus the Great. Okay? Cygnus the Great famously conquered Babylon for like the first time in history because it was a very powerful empire. And he wrote about how he was deathly afraid of their deity, Bel Marduk. And I want to bring it back to that again. Not as an archetype of nature, but he was afraid of him. He said that. And so when he conquered Babylon, it's described how when they went into the city, they like didn't touch anything. I'm serious. They didn't ransack or do anything because he was deathly afraid of these gods. Discuss how if you take a temple and like destroy it or something, it's the ultimate thing you could do here. To be bad, right? So he comes in, he conquers Babylon, and he's like, shh, like tiptoe around, like take some treasure, and then rule the region. But he was really afraid of them. And people should go read his memoirs and like talking about it. The point I'm trying to make is, in the Enuma Elish, he takes credit for creating humanity. Bel Marduk. Bel means ruler. Bel Marduk. And in the Sumerian versions, his father Enki takes credit for creation of humans. The point is they're competing. It's not like there's one group saying this. The same group is trying to compete to be like the all supreme. Like they're trying to be God here.
How much of what you're saying right now is based on, I don't even know.
Not opinion?
No. I'm not going to say that. I don't even know if you can properly ask this question because I don't know if anyone, including you, would have a way of determining the answer. But like, I always try to think of like separation from source.
Yeah.
So like, if Bel Marduk, in this case, like said what he said, and I created humans, and then the person who he was saying that to, or among the people, wrote it down right there.
His name is Barocius.
Okay, Barocius. Are we reading Barocius's first person, allegedly, air quotes, account of what he's saying?
And what's fascinating is that we know that it came over 1,000 years later. So it means
what came 1,000 years later?
Their version of the story, writing it down on the tablets. So there became this is important to understand because it has directly to do with the influences of these regions we're about to talk about, and the patriot gods that then created them, because it seemed like there was a war going on, with some of them over competing, and we know that because there's a set of tablets called Enki and the New World Order, and in that it discusses how some of these gods like Inanna and Enki and Enlil are given domains and regions of the world to run. I'm telling you, this stuff is like mind blowing. And it talks about how Inanna's unhappy because she's got the Indus Valley in that region of India and up through that region, and he's reminding her of that it's important that she still has that, and teaching her a lesson that it's not always about like wanting more or something, basically, right? But the thing that's like so strange is that they have conversations and very detailed descriptions that it would have been impossible if it was just planets or aspects of our solar system or aspects of nature. Those do exist. Okay, there are gods represented as storm gods and different things, and those are like archetypes of nature, but there's something else going on too. There's something else that I'm saying is where we came from. You led me to this point, and I gotta say it just because it's important, but George Smith at the end of his first book called The Chaldean Account of Genesis, highly recommend. It's like one of the most amazing books ever written in history. At the end of his book, and remember, this is like 1871.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like nobody is understanding any of this yet. There's not really a control system anymore at that point. Not in history. They didn't understand anything. Like trying to figure things out.
Okay, not in history. Okay.
No, I meant in history. Like, for instance, they had no idea where to put this, or Egypt. It was sort of trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
Right?
I understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
So George Smith, at the end of the book, Chaldean Account of Genesis, says this like incredible line where he says he clearly shows confusion over the Anuna. And to just be clear, the Anuna is the Sumerian term for their gods. Anunnaki is the later Akkadian Babylonian term. So the original term was called the Anuna. Now, On or Anu, I've determined is God. And I know a lot of people might not like that, but I've studied every tablets and the descriptions of it and the comparisons of it.
What leads you to that conclusion? I mean, that's a big conclusion.
They're not as different as we think. We're not talking about it's not a competing aspect where they're saying God doesn't exist. That's what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of people will get very mad, especially religious groups, when any of this is brought up, because then it's like they're refuting that in some kind of a prime creator or source exists.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so the more descriptions you learn of this Anu or On, which is where Anuna, the word, came from. Anunnaki came from the word Anu or On, and basically it means children of God. They're like fractals of their actual source. And that's why it claims that they're direct descendants or sons or daughters of On, because On or Anu is God. And so it leads you down to this very, very difficult rabbit hole, because what George Smith points out that's really confusing is that it talks about how they come at different time periods in history. And he says that in the book. And man, this is like literally the greatest genius in the Sumerian history of all time. And before they're sidestrapped from certain ideas, he notices that the Enuma Elish talks about how they somehow apparently came here before the earth is like it is now. It describes how it was like chaos. Volcanoes everywhere. It describes it as having no life.
So it's during one of those periods.
Literally billions of years ago, potentially.
Billions? Wait, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Just skipped a lot.
I know. I just threw that out there, and how else can we explain it?
What makes you say billions?
Because they describe how there's no life on Earth. None. Like none.
Yeah, but
not
why?
even microbes. Not even microbes.
So how did it? Because they're God creatures, they survive?
No, they didn't come from here.
I know.
It says
they're
that
God creatures, they survive.
Apparently, the Earth, and I've come to the conclusion that, listen, as far as we know of any planet, we don't know of any planets in the known universe that have as much quartz as Earth does. Quartz.
Okay.
Quartz seems to be, again, all those megaliths they build with is the highest concentration of quartz of any stone they can. Quartz seems to be this resonant energy of creation. It's literally like it's like we're on a giant crystal. If you look at the silica content of Earth,
.com, mate. Scans great again. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say again, because they never were, and they're complicated. See, with Monster.com, making a Gantt chart is as simple as throwing your process or project stages here, adding owners and timelines and whatever other details you need here.
Like, for instance, if you go down to a beach that's non-coral based, like a beach of sand, and you pick up a big scoop of sand, like 90% of it's quartz. Because silica is the most common element on this planet. Quartz is silica. Silica is used entirely for time keeping.
And you're saying it's like the material
a giant
creation.
Crystal. It's like a giant crystal here.
So how did...
I know, I just blew your mind.
Yeah, you did. You're breaking my brain right now.
Okay,
so how does that... does it come back to what I was insinuating a minute ago? Like, it's because they're like sent by a godlike creature that they survived without an ability to have anything to eat?
They're not physical beings. They can be physical if they want to. They discuss it as that. Not only that, they can incarnate as a human and be a human here, and that's why I believe we've had great humans throughout history that are like non-human. We are them, but they're like a super version of us. We're like the children of them, and we're like creator gods of the universe. And the funny thing is that this reality has been created here where we are. It seems like the purpose of it is to make us forget that and to keep us in a very simplistic mindset, in a very simplistic type of distraction and doing all these basic things. Is, I think, the whole idea, and I take this back to something called, it's a Gnostic text called the Nag Hammadi, and it talks about in that how there's this jealous God of here that talks about how he like almost hates humanity, how we became so powerful and we weren't supposed to be, that it says he casts us down into the lowest form of matter so we could be like in turmoil, as a way to, we have to work our way back up again to eventually become what we started as.
This is starting to get like karmic.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the whole thing is, it gets to the point where it's hard to like be around people because it gets so deep and you start like, it like disrupts all of reality. And because the more they talk about it, they say, you ready for this line that's like...
Probably not, but go ahead.
In the Atrahasis, it's the tablet we're about to go into all this. It talks about the creation of humans, and specifically it says that it says, Enki, you were tasked with creating humanity to relieve the toil of us. The toil, okay? And it talks about, it says, where you went, you were to... Ready for this? I want you to think about this for a second. It's the most profound single line I've ever seen in any of these tablets. And it's mentioned more than once. It says, where you went, you were to undo the chain and set us free.
So what does that insinuate to you?
Well, in the Legend of Etana, we learned that Enki ended up taking up a role in the underworld. This is where it's about to get even more bizarre.
So now we're getting heaven and hell shit.
They start talking about how they like assumed roles within reality and like could command and control over them. They're not what we think. It's described that they came here in the Enuma Elish and altered the entire planet so that life could start. Right? And then George Smith goes on to say, well, but then they just disappear for a billion years, and then they just show up to create humanity when it's time. Wrap your head around that. When it's time. When all of a sudden we don't have dinosaurs running around the world eating everyone, and all of a sudden our planet becomes sustainable for life, like on a way that mammals can continue here. Denisovians and Neanderthals seem to have led the way towards something that was like a plan.
How long ago again did they say the dinosaurs?
65 million years ago.
I thought.
And when I get into my binary work stuff and I talk about with the dark star and how potentially it may have exploded 65 million years ago.
And you were talking about the initial, a few minutes back, you had said, I think this is referring to like some of the, what's the name of the god again?
Enki?
No, the other one.
Oh,
Bel-Marduk. Bel-Marduk.
Yeah, that's the son of Enki.
Your quote was, it could have been billions of years ago.
Or 8 billion.
Okay.
We'll just say billions. I'll say 8 billion.
But either way,
yeah,
it remains.
Yeah.
So we're talking way before
time doesn't exist for them. Time doesn't exist.
Oh,
if you are a multi-dimensional being and you exist in other realms of reality, it's called the fourth and fifth dimension. This is where we're going to get into physics. I wish Michio Kaku was sitting next to us.
Well, this is the shit he was blowing my mind with the multiple people walking in the room.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what we're talking about is we exist in the third dimensional reality realm. This is a realm of the physical material world. It's the only realm that the physical material world exists in that totality, meaning that time here is in linear form because of organic breakdown. Entropy. Essentially, entropy is the reason why things in the third dimensional reality, anything that's physical always breaks down.
I have a question on this for you personally.
Sure.
When you start talking about things like this that get into physics, and like the actual science and stuff, obviously you do a ton of research across history.
I'm not an expert. I just want to point that out.
Okay. So what my question was going to be, you're basing everything you're saying like right now based off the people like the Michus of the world.
The best physicists in the world that are willing, like for instance, I want to just give a shout out to Michio Kaku because he to me is the greatest physicist ever lived, only because of one thing. Yeah, he's as brilliant as all the others, but he's willing to talk outside the box about what's possible out there, the paradoxes that exist in our universe with the extraterrestrial life and possibility. He's like so willing to just not be clamped down by something that he's the only one, in my opinion, that just is willing to talk about that in an open way.
And there's a lot of physicists who hate him for it.
I know
stay
that.
out of that.
I know.
Like whole thing. I obviously like the guy a lot.
That's why I admire
True
him so
gentleman,
much. Yes.
awesome dude, and blows my mind. But
Yeah.
one of the reasons I think they attack him, well, there's two
What they
things
trying to
there.
do?
First is kind of what you're getting at right there, which is that he will look at things beyond what we can even process or test in
And put them
existence.
together.
And people will say, you're going so far, it's
Yeah.
loony, and you're just talking out of your ass about whatever. I disagree that he's talking out of his ass.
Yeah.
I think he's just thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And secondly, you're talking about a guy who for, I don't know how long, call it like 30, 40 years in that area, worked on the science, hardcore, like as a scientist.
Yes.
And now, I mean, he's an older guy.
Yeah,
He's like
yeah.
76
Still
years old,
brilliant.
right? It's amazing. He's a machine.
Yeah.
Like, you'd never know it. But, you know, for the last 20 years, it seems like, give or take, he has given his life to being and he said this, like, I'm a popularizer of science. I'm someone who goes out and discusses it so that the kids can get interested in it and everything. And from the perspective of the fact that we have so many young people in our society who are not interested in math and science, people like Michu are so goddamn important.
Make it exciting. Make it something that's like fascinating.
Yes, so that's where, and I understand where he gets a lot of attention because he's on TV and stuff, and people get jealous of that. Like, it's a human thing. I get it. I think it's weird, and you should never get that way, but people get that way. But, you know, to whitewash like the work he's done and what he's doing now, I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong.
But that's the whole point of why I admire him so much. Because these are pioneers in their field that are willing to go above and beyond to challenge a very tightly controlled narrative. And it's been like that for a long time.
And then people accuse him of being tightly controlled too, which that's what I mean. Like, no matter what, you're not going to be able to win. But when I go on a rant like I did a little bit ago, those types of people are the ones who are going out of their way to vociferously shut everyone down and tell them to fuck off.
And the thing that's amazing is Michio Kaku, I know he's like incredibly smart guy. He realizes that the greatest contribution you can possibly make here is to be remembered. There's nothing else you can do but be remembered in a positive way. And so Michio Kaku, I bet you he made a decision at one point that he's like, I'm going to just speak the truth of what I feel, and because I bet you he wants to shift our thinking towards something greater. To shift our thinking towards something where we incorporate more ideas of what could be and how amazing the universe is. It really is.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. I mean, I think everyone does at a human level. Like, they think about how they're going to be remembered and stuff like that. I think it's a human thing.
But then the opposite is true though, where they don't want to take a chance and then lose everything they worked for. So it's like it's like a sword. It's like a tight edge, like a really narrow sword to try to follow that.
Great point.
So. What I'm trying to, I don't remember where we were. Do you remember where we were talking about the Anuna and like the whole idea? They seem to have took up roles within our reality, and this is why
you were
so
talking
many
about the
people,
interdimensional stuff.
and so many people are so obsessed with the whole UFO alien phenomenon right now, and I kind of chuckle because I absolutely believe there's beings all throughout the universe. It's vast, of course.
Of course there is, statistically.
But I think that we're sort of looking right at them. We are them. And they're all throughout our murals and depictions and talking about us. We're looking in the wrong place, in my opinion.
You think it's all here?
I think that any extraterrestrial species who's incredibly advanced that could possibly get here through some means, whether it's linearly through star system travel or through some kind of a gateway or portal, it'd be more like there's an inherent responsibility that's always put on top of that when you reach that level.
Undeniably elegant. Unbelievably powerful, unmistakably Mazda. The first ever Mazda CX-90.
Star Trek nailed that. And I think that if any group would always have that inherent responsibility to watch without us ever knowing that they're there. Why would they ever just willy-nilly fly around and pollute a timeline with people and start to do that? It's an inherent responsibility that's been grown over the course of what? That civilization's ability to get to where they were after 100,000 years or whatever. Like I think we're just a little bit too simplistic with our thinking. And so yeah, I bet you were being watched by all over the cosmos. Absolutely. I bet you were like a reality show. Like I said to you last night, it's like a bunch of angels all killing each other.
But what you're also talking about, and maybe I'm losing it in the timeline of us jumping around here, but what you're talking about with, you know, an ancient like God people sent here, that is an alien. And then if some of us are descendants of them, and then the rest of us are just some species that formed, I'm getting real meta here.
Yeah.
Then like there could be a small group of them among us.
Right, and I think that the challenge is, I guess I just don't like polluted terms.
You don't like what?
Polluted terms. The word alien has become so polluted
that
I almost don't even want to say it anymore. Because the thing I don't believe is I do not believe they arrived here on ships and stuff like that. And I don't believe that. Because the tablets, these beings that are described in this that created us, they don't need any of that. It's described how time doesn't exist for them. That's why they could come here 1 billion years ago and then come during a different time period, because when you're in the 5th dimension, time doesn't exist at all. It's nothing. So time you wouldn't be waiting around like watching your clock. Everything would literally happen only in the moment.
Do you think it's possible, I love this topic, I'm really clicking on here. Do you think it's possible that there's some form of a controlled simulation? I actually don't like using
I know where you're
simulation
going
there, but do you think it's possible that there's some sort of like controlled experiment for things to be seen on rare occasions by different people around the world in a consistent basis, where they can make a similar description and people really saw what they saw, such that, you know, the instant detraction from like any of the arguments on UFOs is like, oh, well, if these civilizations were so smart, why the fuck would they ever be seen? And it's something I throw out there all the time too. I always say I think they're doing it on purpose. So do you think there could be things driven from things on this planet that are doing those things on purpose, and it's not just like, oh, the CIA is doing a couple experiments. It's like actually something else.
The best way I can describe it, and this is very unsettling for people, is that source creation that created everything in the universe created it perfectly.
Source creation?
God.
Okay.
There is a perfection to everything. If there wasn't, everything would collapse and just destroy itself. Everything is perfect. I want to give you an example, and I don't want to get too far off where we were, though. Okay.
And let's actually. Yeah. Where were we exactly?
We're going to talk about how these beings are related to source, but how they altered our reality in a way that we're almost like we are in some kind of a simulation. Yeah, that's a good point to make sure we keep that.
Literally writing that down.
Yeah.
and I'm going to say this for all the people at home. One of the things about you, and you and I were talking about this last night at dinner, is that you have so much, forget like the timeline and how long
we haven't
it
even
is.
done this yet.
There's so much history that you'll go through and stuff. So when you do podcasts, sometimes people get frustrated if like the host accidentally gets you off something and you don't come back. So I want to make sure
we're going to come
if
back.
you're going to do context, we're going to come back.
Yeah, we're going to come back, guys. Don't
There's
worry.
a lot to tie back.
Yeah, we're gonna come back. I promise. We haven't even gotten into the heart of what our whole point of this conversation is. But I think this is context we need to understand. And I know that this is overwhelming to some, but if we don't lay it out, what we're about to talk about won't really make the same type of understanding or make sense the same way. Okay. Our Earth and the universe, in the way that everything moves, the way that elements come together, and the way that everything is perfect. I once saw a statistic, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but if anything in the physical aspect of our understanding of the universe was even slightly like 0.00001 different or something, everything would like collapse and crash into each other.
Yeah, it's perfectly tuned.
Everything is perfect, right? Now imagine you're someone who comes to visit Earth, right? And you're learning about the biome systems here in the environments, and you're like, okay, so right now we're on the East Coast. We in summertime, spring, summer, the leaves come out and the trees all do their thing, and then what happens in fall? The leaves fall to the ground. They create the essential components of all life continuing at that point. Organic matter breaking down is the only reason why life can survive here. But so perfect, though, the way that plants do with oxygen and carbon dioxide, and the way that they drop, and then everything grows based on this cycles of death and rebirth, and everything's perfect on this earth, except for us. We are something that's an anomaly. It seems strange, like we're here almost like we're visitors and we're trying to figure it out. And the way that I've described it as is we seem more like stewards of the earth than anything else. Is that we're supposed to be here taking care of it, and that's perhaps why we were created in the first place. This is where it's leading back to this. Because in the tablets, it talks about how there was this lower group of these gods called the Igigi. I-G-I-G-I.
I-G-I-G-I.
Okay? And that they were creating temples and clearing river channels in the Euphrates and Tigris before we were here. It does. It clearly states that. It says that before any mankind was here, they were like demigod gods that were doing the work for these like overlord gods.
Yes.
That's the best way I can describe it. Powerful beings that have a great interest in this place.
Canvas in a
And
second.
as I said, George
It's almost
Smith,
time for me
his
to-
quote is, they seem to come backwards and forwards
little
in
break.
time. Here, though, they have a great interest in here. And they talk about how they're always...
So what do you guys think about the Anunnaki, Enuma, Elish, Gilgamesh, Marduk, and Tiamat stories? What do you think about all of that? Is there any validity to any of these ancient myths and legends? Enkidu and Enlil and Anu, all written in cuneiform. Cuneiform. Oh, your drawings are rubbish. No, they're not. That's why you keep drawing. Because if your drawings were rubbish, you would have just did that one drawing and stopped. But you said, you know what, this isn't that bad. I like doing it. So you have more than one drawing now, which means they're pretty good, actually. They're actually pretty good. Your drawings are. Let me see, you sent me something.
These sections.
Alright. I'll finish checking that out later. Some reggae shit. Reggae. Where to now? What if I could, let's just keep going right here. See, that brush is too small, and then this brush is too big. I need to find something in between these two brushes. So I don't have to use a combination of the big brush and the small brush. I guess I got to. It hasn't been too bad up here this afternoon. I turned the AC and fan off a while ago, but now it's starting to feel a little warm. Starting to feel a little warm up in here. But that might be the vodka kicking in. I don't know which one. I'm getting hungry though. Oh damn, it's already 6 o'clock. I be looking out the window and it's still bright as hell. I be forgetting like summertime, nigga. It's already dinner time. Almost. Think I'm gonna finish this S and then wrap it up for this evening. Something like that. No. I might have to let this dry a little bit because that blue is still really wet and I'm getting it inside the white paint and I don't want it there. I want this white to be ultra bright white with no contamination. These letters gotta pop. Alright. That S still look kind of iffy, but I gotta wait for some of that blue to dry, like I said. I'll leave those letters alone for right now because everything else around it is all wet. So maybe when I come back, I'll just start on the books that are on the bench. And then, yeah, because all of that now needs a little bit to dry before I start adding the lettering to it. So we're making progress, making very, very decent progress. I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at all. Oh yeah, I definitely will. You know, I'll be scared to play some music on here sometimes. It seems like they don't fuck with me too much about podcasts and shit. But as soon as I try to play some music that ain't mine, these motherfuckers try to handle my ass. Man, wait a minute, man. Uh-oh. I started this podcast right here yesterday. It's been 2 days. I ain't even make it all the way through it yet. This shit like 3 hours, a 3 hour conversation these dudes have. Well, was working on that shadow part of the book, which looks good. So now you can see a clear transition of where that shadow line is at. Got that good. We started going over some of the white letters. We got most of the details in the pool down there. And so now starting to look good though. Tear all this stuff off. Let's see. Alright, I got all my brushes clean. Got everything turned off. Oh yeah, I'm definitely check it out. I'm gonna go probably go play video games for a little while before I go to bed. I'll probably stream. I haven't streamed my video games in a while. But it's weird, yo, like last week I was streaming my video game session, yo. And no lie, I had like 33 people in there. Me and Blunt Mover was talking about that the other day. I was like, I don't never had no 30-something people in my stream. I had the same faithful, loyal homies who chill in the studio with me. They may be like 6 of us. You know, at any given time, they'd be like 6 of us. But to have 30-something motherfuckers just watching me play the game. And then at the end, that stream had like 400 and something views. I'm like, who the hell was all these motherfuckers? But anyway, I said I'll probably, hold on. I'm starting to feel a little sleepy already, man. I don't even know if I'm going to game that long. I need to eat something. I'll probably make a sandwich, and that way I can eat and play the game at the same time. Alright. Yo, once again, appreciate y'all chilling in the studio with me, man. This piece is looking magnifique. I'll catch y'all downstairs. Peace.